Okay. I just listened to music, so I'll ask the question that Bob Marley was asking. And I'll tell you what came to mind. Could you be loved? What come to mind is, yeah, could you put church out the way so you could actually be loved by God? Because most people, they put church in the way of ever being able to receive that love. Ever being able to receive that love. They put that, all of that, yeah. They put church completely in the way. So, could you be loved? The answer is yes. But you've got to put God first. You've got to have that desire for God, not church. If you have a desire for church, you'll never have God. Never. Because you will get what your heart desires. If you desire church, you will get church. You won't get God. That's why I say when I look at people in churches like the River Church, they've got what they wanted. They've got exactly what they wanted. They will, at some point, probably after death, one in hell, they will make many, many claims that this is not what they wanted. But no, the reality is this is exactly what they wanted. This is the path that they chose. You could have always, if you're a member of a church, you could have demanded more. You could have demanded better from your elders. Most churches have an annual meeting where, as a member, you get a chance to bring up points. Now, most people in church, they know that there's a lot of things in church that are not right, and there's a lot of things that should be in church that aren't there. Most people know this, but they remain silent. And they remain silent because they don't want to offend people. Now, as I say, that's fine. That's church. Safe space, non-offensive, that's church. If you want that, then you'll get that, and that's fine. Enjoy that if that's your choice. Yeah. Because that's the point. If that's what you want, then yes. Let your heart be content with what you got. And that's why, as I say, I'm not going to bother with people that want that. No. And look, how do I know the people that want that? It's the people that have got that. If you've got that, it's because you wanted it. So, as I said, the community church of Rick, I won't bother with. I haven't for a while because that's what they want. They want Rick. They want a pastor who, if you complain to the pastor about a person, the pastor will ban that person. Fine. You want the world? You've got the world in the church. So you've got it. Okay. Same with the River Church. Same with Oasis. Same with the Baptist Church. You want that? You've got it. Okay. That's fine. I'm going to leave you to it because that's the point. You've got what your heart wanted, so therefore, be content. Now, anyone who doesn't want that, get out of those churches. Don't stay at them. And if the churches like that in your area, then don't be in those churches. If you do not believe that the church you're in is fighting to have everything of God in their church. Now, it's a battle, and it's a battle they might lose sometimes, but they have successes. If that is not your church, get out of it. Go and find one that is doing that. Go and find one that actually has people that have a desire to do that. If you're in a place where they don't have that, well, then okay. Then you are in a place that don't have that. But yeah, fun when it does. If you can. If not, ask God to help you to make one. To do things according to his will, his ways, and to therefore start a church that is going to be that way. Be prepared for your battles, because battles are going to happen. You're going to have most of the churches in your area cursing you, not blessing you, cursing you. Because if you decide to do things according to God, they won't be happy because they're not. And if you're successful, you're going to show them up. They don't want that. They don't want you to be successful. Of course. No. That's why you won't get churches. The Vineyard Church isn't a church that I would say, has a strong desire to do things according to God. They have a strong desire to serve the community. That's why they do things like Easter egg hunts, which has got nothing to do with God in any way, shape, or form. It's purely a way of pleasing the community, which is, an odd thing for a church to do. But okay, that's what they want to do. Fine. Yeah. And right now, they're where they are. Could they get to a position where they are doing according to the will of God? Well, they're a damn sight closer to it than the River Church, the Community Church of Wick, or the Baptist Church or Oasis Church. They're a lot closer than they are. But it's more likely that they are going to go the way of the other churches rather than according to the will of God, because that's the nature. The Vineyard Church in Elgin is a young church. It's just over a year old. And so, therefore, right now they are doing things with the Elgin Community Church of Wick and the River Church. So if they're doing things with those churches, they're more likely to start doing things according to the desire and the ways of those churches, isn't it, really? So, therefore, I would not expect them to suddenly do things according to God, unless if God wants that church, the Vineyard Church, to be his, the more they start doing, and this is the point, if God wants your church to be his, this is what God will do. Generally speaking, I'm not saying every time, but generally speaking, this is what God will do. He did it with the Jews. So we know that this is what God will do because he did it with his people before. He will do it with his people now. If you start mucking around with churches that don't give a crap about God, what God will do, he will start taking away the things that he's brought to you. The protections, the blessings. He will start removing that to try and get your attention, to help you to understand that that's not his path. That's not his path for you. That's not really his path for anyone. The way the River Church does things is not God's path for any church. The way the Community Church of Wick does things is not God's path. So therefore, if the Vineyard Church is part of God's plan, if he wants them, then he's going to do something about it. He's going to change them. Well, so let's see what he wants. Well, because the reality is, it's up to him. Isn't it? And we will see. If that church belongs to God, then we will see. And at the moment, it's... we'll see. It's as simple as that. At the moment, I couldn't tell you what it's going to be. I think it's more likely to be that the Vineyard Church will join the others. Because that's nature. It's the nature of man. They want to be part of something bigger. And that bigger is the churches in the area. As I say, if they are a church that doesn't look to God for healing, really, not properly, they're happy to try, then they don't give me the impression that they will be willing to go through the battles they're going to have to go through, especially locally, to start having churches, withdraw support for them and stuff like that, and actively sort of work against them. I don't see them having a desire for that, really. I think quite likely it is a case that if the River Church and Community Church of Wick offer to assist the Vineyard Church next year for the Easter egg hunt and to make it 3 times bigger, it's quite likely the Vineyard Church will give whatever they need the other churches to do that. And will they give themselves to the other churches? Quite likely. For things like that, yeah. As I say, it's in nature. It's the way that humans are, isn't it? If you can puff people up, and if you can suggest that you can make the event that they love being involved in bigger, then, yeah, you can have them. You can have their soul. And so, yeah, that's the way it works. So, yeah, yeah, we will see. As I say, for me, that's the thing. That's what's going to matter. If the Vineyard Church goes the same way as the other churches, then I will turn my back on the Vineyard Church. Of course, I have to. I can't be involved in any way, shape, or form with people who are of church. And so, therefore, yes. I'm in a church right now where there are some people that are obviously of church and other people that are not. Well, okay, the Vineyard Church says. So, therefore, people are going to choose whether they're all in or not. And so at some point in time, yeah, it will get settled. It will get settled. People will be all in, or the people that don't agree with that path will leave. And so therefore the people that left are going to be the people that agree with the path that the church goes on. And so, yeah. I say that's the thing, really, when it comes down to it. Yeah. Yeah, we are pretty much where we are, aren't we? And so, yeah. Could you be loved? Yeah. Indeed. But you have to put aside that which gets in the way and be willing to look beyond that. And, yes, make it about God. Same as the Jewish people. When the Jewish people refocused on God, suddenly they had victory again, didn't they? So all they had to do, refocus on God, and they had victory. We can read that in the Old Testament, how they go to God, they have victory. They go away from God, then they have massive defeats. They go into slavery. They focus in on God, and they have victory. He leads them in the wilderness and feeds them and protects them and brings them to a new place. Yeah? Until they then focus away from God again. They could have gone into the promised land earlier had they trusted God, but they didn't. They trusted what their eyes could see. So again, it's like I was saying earlier. If you focus on the one who can see the big picture, which they weren't willing to do as a group, the majority of them focused on the giants that were in that land and said, but I don't think we can win this. So they didn't go in. The next generation went in. That generation did not. So when you focus on God and you believe and trust in God, then beautiful, wonderful things can happen and do happen all the time. But if you want to make it about church, then oops. So there you go. I wish you well. Could you be loved? Yes. So be loved. You take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.